Yo,
Hello.
how's it going?
Uh, it's a clusterfuck to be honest. They 20 minutes ago just canceled Crusher and the Tusher due to wildfires, the
Oh
lifetime
no.
Grand Prix. So uh, my world is exploding a little bit, and that's probably actually might be a topic to deal with during this live. But uh,
Yeah,
um, yeah, don't really have a plan B in July right now, and that was kind of like my A-list race as a climbing specialist. So. I get it. I mean, yeah, it's a wildfire that's impacting the community, which is just our new normal here in the West. But
yeah.
yeah, it's fucked.
That's unfortunate. That's brutal.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Well,
I get the reasoning behind it, and I hope everyone's safe. But it
yeah,
sucks.
exactly. Yeah, you can't blame anyone for it, but
No,
yeah, yeah. So anyway, no, I'm glad we're doing
got a
this. But
little bit of thinking
yeah,
now for what you're gonna do for
yeah, we can
July,
dive into some current events.
right? So how have you been? Are you at doing a training camp right now, or?
Yeah, so I've been up in Lake Tahoe since Oregon Trail, preparing specifically for the Crusher, high altitude climb fest. I have a little cabin up here in the West Shore. It's beautiful. It's heaven on earth. But yeah, I really, I really put myself to the wood for this one. I really dieted hard and made sure I was light for these long climbs and everything. I did everything right, and so that's yeah, just digesting that a bit. I think there's going to be a couple IPAs tonight now, trying to pivot, but everything else in my world is good. So yeah,
Cool.
we were just in the last steps of dialing in the bike and and even the chain policy for Crusher and all of that. So
Yeah.
yeah, um,
Cool. Well,
yeah.
anyone that's kind of new here, I'm Chris. I work with Rex Bike. I've been working with these guys for a while now, just trying to grow Rex Bike here. Working with Pete starting this year, in right a week before Unbound almost. So we've
Yeah,
got about
exactly.
a month together
Mhm.
of some product testing, but just to get to know you a little bit, and for the Rex followers as well, how long have you been professionally cycling, and where did you start?
Um, yeah, I started, gosh, I as a junior, just normal pipeline, talent pipeline. It was during, like the Lance Armstrong era and growing up in Boulder, Colorado. And yeah, started on the mountain bike, and the road was kind of like the natural trajectory for anyone that age. And yeah, just a classic pipeline story. I had family history in the bike, but really it was a product of my environment. And once start doing well, and all of a sudden you win like $50 in a junior race, and there's like that light bulb moment, like, oh, I can make money doing this. And yeah, yeah. So I just went all the way through all the road, Team USA, World Championships, Pro Tour contracts for a decade. Played that game, and then this gravel thing started blowing up, and that became my greener grass. So hopped into that at the in 2020. Yeah.
What made you change?
Oh, I mean that's a long conversation. That we honestly, it's been interviewed a million times. I'd like to keep it more current if we can,
For
but
sure.
very short. Is just disillusionment on the politics of the world tour. Doing the same races for a decade was some of it too.
Yeah,
Just a lot of that stuff, and then having that light bulb moment of doing some of the then alternative races, and they're not alternative now, but it was a light bulb moment in how big of an effect and a reaction it was from the American public specifically. Um, and it was just like, whoa, I can do this. I can be based in the U.S. at home with family and still race my bike at a high level, and have a lot more fun doing it. So that's
that's
kind of
cool.
what it really, really boiled down to.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then since then, I
Uh,
mean, the gravel boom has been phenomenal. I mean, it was kind of good vibes serious racing, but also fun. But yeah, then it's just gotten so professional, which is awesome to kind of be on riding that wave. It's definitely was the smartest move of my career, honestly, to swap
It's
over to gravel.
it's so cool to see gravel finally kind of get into that limelight and really
Yeah.
just start to see it explode over the last few years. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And I am seeing a bunch of these questions coming in, so that's cool. We can actually get into some of these because there's a lot of some crusher ones and some
Yeah,
Tahoe.
perfect.
Yeah.
Who takes care of your bikes and maintains your fleet? Is it just you? Is it
Yeah.
who do you got on your support team right now?
So it's me and Big Tall Wayne. That's
Cool.
it. Wayne and I do everything together. He's my right hand man. He's basically one of my best buds. Oh, thanks, Clayton. Um, he's one of my best buds, but he's also happens to be like one of the best mechanics I've ever met. So when I moved to gravel, I said, "Do you want to come on this adventure with me?" And he just said, "Hell yeah!" And it's kind of funny. He's actually more popular at the races than I am now. He's the people's champ, but he's that true tinkerer, where he needs to understand how everything is. So like he asked Shimano before they released like the GRX 12 speed, he asked them for like the specs and the maps and like the engineering PDF so he could like understand how it works so then he can like troubleshoot and fix and also
That's cool.
like do like kind of like a more custom build for me, like how to wire it specifically for my bike for like the lightest, cleanest, most efficient way instead of like a bike shop build, so to speak.
Yeah.
So everything is prioritized with Wayne, and he does everything. He does all the chain waxing, actually, too. Poor guy. But it's just him and we just jam on it, and we have a lot of fun. So
That's
yeah,
awesome. Uh, in the last few years, how what kind of like major developments have you seen with technology? Has it always been kind of like this really in-depth science
yeah.
when you've been on the world tour, or is it more of a recent thing? And is that just something specific to you guys? Like, how tight do you guys go, or are you guys just finding the entertainment with like picking the right tires, or the right group sets, or the right chain mixes? And has
Um,
that always been a thing for you?
yeah, I think when I was in the world tour, that whole world of marginal gains really started riding. It started really crescendoing with Team Sky and then all the diet stuff. And first there was fasted riding and now it's high carb fueling. And so I was kind of living through that with the world tour. And it's obviously taken another step even since I've transitioned to gravel. But gravel is a much higher prioritization on the tech and the advancement mechanically. I will put my foot down and say that gravel is the hardest proving ground for any component. You're basically on some sort of road bike geometry, and you're riding it on almost mountain bike trails at this point. It is just oh, now Wayne's watching. Oh my God, we're gonna pull him into this. Um, so Wayne rides a single speed, which is kind of like the chef that they cook all day for people, so they get home and they just like want to like microwave a burrito or something. They just like can't be bothered to actually like tinker with their own stuff. So I think that's why Wayne rides a single speed, is just he's so blown out on touching like bikes all day. But anyway, so gravel, we break stuff a lot, and it's been a lot of fun to work with partners on new gravel tech as the sport is getting faster. The sport's getting more rugged, and it's also um, like it's just yeah. Sorry, it's just the ultimate proving ground for everything. It's
That's cool.
yeah, yeah. It's mountain biking on road platforms basically. So.
So as some of you guys may have know, Pete's been using Rex Bike for a long time, but we only started working with him about a month ago. How did you find Rex Bike? What was your process, and how long have you been using it before even contacting us?
Yeah. Yeah, this is an interesting story in that, it was me that reached out to you guys and I will say I'm privileged that, usually it's the other way around with my position in gravel right now, and I don't take that for granted. But I by all intents and purposes purposes, I was very happy with my current sponsor portfolio. Like Wayne and I were making ends meet, we're having fun. Didn't need another obligation, so to speak. But at the end of the day, we're talking about efficiencies and all this tech, and now it's so competitive. I've had to, skew back towards that world tour mentality of extremely high performance at times, and uh, chain efficiency and inefficiencies was such a big issue for so long. I mean, couldn't find a lube that would, you'd be crunching after 2 hours, and people have probably seen photos of me trying to like reapply like during a ride. Like actually, I've trained myself to like bend down and, like with a bottle of lube while I'm pedaling and get it on the chain and on the front chain ring. And it was just, yeah, it was always a pain. So I started exploring the whole waxing process and all that. To be honest, it seemed like a bit of like a pain. Like it was just a lot of setup and a lot of prep for, is it really going to make the biggest difference? But I asked Wayne to start doing it, and it's not actually that hard apparently. But
It's way better now.
yeah. Um, and yeah, it was kind of that moment of like, okay, like I see the philosophy. And I was enjoying having freedom in a chain wax sponsor and choosing whatever product truly made the best sense. There's something, freeing in that you're not actually bound to a company, and you can actually just get the best stuff no matter what. And I tried everything under the sun. And I had some good situations. I ruined a couple of races last year of believing in some media and some hype, and it was not at all panning out. Some of that is maybe user error in just believing it. That age-old truth of like never try something new on race day. I fell for
Yeah.
that. This is the hot new stuff. And so I continued to try a lot, and I kind of early this year I started using the Rex products, and I quickly settled on it. It worked every time as it should, and for me and Wayne, that was our aha moment, which was like, oh, like this is what the wax chain feeling and what people talk about should be. Like this is clicking, and I had a really good spring and some really nice results, and I think a part of that is due to finally settling on something that was an aid. Um, and So it was actually me that kind of cold called you guys and was like, I mean, yeah, I would love a bit more product. And if you want to do something official, let's do something official, because to be totally honest, like I'm not using any other product right now. Like, so it kind of makes sense to line up. And then, luckily that you guys were down to jam with that too.
Yeah, that was really cool. We actually were watching the Traca 360. Those guys. So you Antti and Yuzo watch it in Europe. I was watching it here, and it was just like, wow, Pete
Yeah.
won. That's awesome. Had no idea that you were using Rex Bike, and
Yeah.
then 2 weeks later, like, oh my God, the guy from Traca 360 just cold called us
Yeah.
and wants to try the product. And it was just one of those like surreal moments as just bike fans and gravel fans and road fans to be able to start working with you guys is really
Yeah.
really fun.
Yeah, thanks. No, it's been a lot of fun too. So, yeah, we're having a lot of fun, and there's we can't give out too much here, but there's some cool stuff in the pipeline that we've been tinkering with, especially at Oregon Trail. So, yeah,
Heck
yeah,
yeah.
no, it's having a lot of fun with that.
It's gonna be exciting.
Yeah,
Let's take a look at some of these questions. Well, the first one, Russell Burns. What did you think of the Tour de France gravel stage yesterday?
I loved it. Naturally, I mean, it's drama, right? There's always the discussion around um, should the Roubaix or the gravel stage or the Strade Bianche day ever be in the tour, but like. Um, uh, but at the end of the day, like it's I get it. It's entertainment. It's drama. It's all parts of cycling. And like to be truthful, like guys can win or lose the tour at any moment. Like these mass crashes are happening on the road. It's not like I don't know. I thought it was a great day for racing, and people loved it. And guys were turned on for it. I didn't see any big detriment. And I think like I would have loved that, and a few of my friends who have raced the tour would have loved that, because at least with the gravel, it doesn't matter as much on body type. Like Roubaix, you have to almost have a bigger body because you have to like carry momentum over the stones that jolt you up versus just dirt riding is a bit more of like a technique finesse type of thing. So yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I mean, obviously coming from like a
Yeah.
mechanic side of things, I'm sure it was a big pain and for the teams to plan for it and stuff has got to be impossible. But
Yeah.
from a spectator standpoint, it was pretty fun to watch, and it was one of the more exciting days watching that tour in a long, long time.
I will give my armchair quarterback 2 cents in that, the only thing that I really would have uh, hammered home and that I think should have been done differently is I do think uh, Matteo Jorgensen should have pulled with Tade there when they were off with Jonas because not necessarily that Jonas had to pull and maybe he was hurting because he was on a spare bike and stuff or on a teammate's bike. You never know like if he was really on the limit, but I mean, in that moment, I think there was everything to gain. He had a teammate there. It should have been, no, I won't pull, but my teammate will sell out with you because
Yeah,
they could have buried Remco and Primoz right there,
yeah,
and made it much more
yeah,
of a two-horse race. I do think that was a tactical blunder, and I realized that their tactic was to race negative and just not have anything go wrong and keep
yeah.
their cards for the mountains. But I do think that was a massive missed opportunity by Visma, but whatever. I'm also at home and I'm not gonna fault him because you never know what's truly going on behind the scenes.
Right. And we got 11 more days of racing. I'm sure it'll all work
Hmm.
its way out at some point.
Yep. Mhm.
uh yeah, I don't see many other questions here. Do you want to circle back with the latest canceled race
Yeah.
and kind of talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, and I think if anyone actually has a question on waxing chains, because this is the Rex Bike channel,
That too.
and when to use what, because they actually have two different blends. Happy to talk about that.
Hmm.
Levi, I've never used a mustache wax. It's just all natural. How do you trim it?
All natural.
I saved the wax for the bike. Um, but yeah, the I have my own race, the pay dirt. In 2021, we had to cancel it for the big Caldor fire here in Lake Tahoe. Our venue is actually the evacuation zone for all the farm animals. Um, so I get it. It sucks. Like I will say that, I put myself to the grindstone for this. I kind of, as I get older, it's harder and harder to hit that extreme race weight. And I finally hit it. And I was like, oh my God, this is going to be good. And, but woulda, coulda, shoulda. And this is a blip in terms of my career. So I'm trying to, it's a fresh cut because the news is like 30 minutes old, but, there's so many races. This is not even going to be thought of in a few weeks. I think
Yeah.
as for those curious, as far as the Grand Prix is concerned, they basically decided that it's going to be your best 4 out of 6 scores instead of your best 5 out of 7. Um, so yeah, a bit. It changes the dynamic a bit. Yeah, skews it more towards the mountain bike stuff, I guess. But at the end of the day, um, we'll just pivot and go on. And now I'm just trying to figure out if there's anything to do in July with this, you know, purple patch of form I find myself in at the moment. So if anyone has good suggestions for a July race, I might research it. Mhm.
Awesome. Like Pete said, I guess we're just kind of I'm jumping all over the board right now, but
Yeah,
going back to the Rex wax and blends and stuff. We do have kind of a very unique product with the hot wax. It's something that is customizable. In that box, you get 11 white bricks, which are just straight paraffin. Then you get a black additive block, and you can kind of blend and mix and change your ratios based off of your conditions. So, what have you found with your races, and when do you use your two different blends and mixtures?
right. So very simply put, and of course you can get a lot more nuanced on this, but the most layman's terms, 4-to-1 is basically a higher concentration of the fast stuff, right? All the lubricating material, and an 11-to-1 is a higher wax concentration. So We use the 4-to-1 in dry, dusty races when you know it's not going to be as much contamination in the chain. The 11-to-1 is a lot better in sloppy, mucky stuff if there's going to be river crossings or anything like that, because it takes that wax. There's a lot more wax that will get broken down over time, if that makes sense. So, Traka, everyone was talking about the epic storms for the week before and course changes. So we ran the 11-to-1 chain at Traka, performed amazingly. We used the 4-to-1 at Unbound. It worked out well. 4-to-1 at BWR, California, in the dry San Diego climate. It really just depends on kind of what you're riding and where you're living. And then I'm still kind of an old school wet lube guy just for training at home. Just it's you can't beat just being able to clean the bike and just reapply. So I do use the Black Diamond lube just for it's easy. It's one drop a pin, and when it starts to get gross and black or sound bad, I just wash the bike and then one drop a pin when it's dry. So it's really easy, and it's working really well.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else. Is there anything else that you'd like to add in here before we close out?
No, this is my business day. Actually, I have a call with IRC Japan on the next fast gravel tires that hopefully
There you go.
we can release with everyone here. But yeah, I mean, I think I just see the question about Leadville. First big race, enjoy it. And I mean, extreme altitude, your watts per kilo are going to be completely different. So don't even think about that. I mean, if you can go up there early, that's going to be the biggest boost. Otherwise, it's just, making sure that, like I would say, try to get, time in the saddle, and, make sure that your fueling is on point. Like in such a big endurance feat like Leadville, it's honestly going to be an eating competition for you to finish it out. So good luck with that. Yeah.
Awesome.
I guess that's about it. But yeah.
Thanks for taking the time and joining us and answering some questions. And Levi's comment: Tour de France is a
Levi's
pretty
the
good
ultimate
prep for
troll
Leadville.
right there. Wrote with him yesterday, and I was just trolling me.
Yeah.
TDF is
We got to
good
convert.
prep.
We got to
Yes. Levi did the tour
Levi
when you
to
won
wax.
Leadville. So that's probably the best prep. But I don't know. Maybe we can make Mate Mohorj come back to another lifetime event because Unbound didn't go as well for him. So, yeah. All right.
Perfect.
Thanks
Well,
for the
thanks
chat,
again, and
Chris.
thanks everyone for joining.
All right.
Yeah, we'll talk to you later.
See you guys.